Now I must conjecture, but I believe my conjecture to be correct. She writes a letter to her lawyer, Monsieur Wells, asking him to call on her to finalize the new will. She finds she has no stamps in her desk. So she goes to the desk of her husband to see if he has any stamps. It is locked. So she opens it using her own key. She discovers a paper. That very paper that Madame Cavendish believed to be the written proof of the infidelity of her husband, John, but was in fact far more serious.
Is this really necessary? All we need to know is who put the poison in my mother's coffee and why the poison took so long to act.
Yes, that is very true, Monsieur Lawrence, but here we have the little problem, you see, because Madame Inglethorpe, she did not drink the coffee.
What?
No. The stain on the carpet was the coffee. She must have spilt it before she could drink it. But feeling in need of a hot drink, she heated up a cocoa and drank that.
If the strychnine wasn't in the coffee, and we know it wasn't in the cocoa, where was it?
Now I will pose to you the little question. What third medium was there readily to hand? A medium so suitable for the disguising of the strychnine that it is absolutely extraordinary that no one has thought of it. Hastings?
I've no idea.
No. No. Inspector Japp. Her medicine.
Somebody put strychnine in her tonic.
No, there was no need, Hastings. It was already there. The strychnine that poisoned Madame Inglethorpe was the same strychnine prescribed quite legitimately by Dr. Wilkins. The addition of bromide to a solution containing strychnine precipitates all the strychnine into colorless crystals which fall to the bottom of the mixture. It is likely that the last dose is fatal.
Someone added her sleeping powders to her tonic.
Yes, Inspector. But the last link in the chain was a paper one, huh? But it was not a will. You see, our murderer wrote a letter. And that letter accepted. There was nothing to connect the murderer with the crime. But Madame Inglethorpe found the letter, locked it in her dispatch case, and took it to her room. It became essential that that letter should be retrieved. Without it, certain doom faced our murderer. But I had already locked the briefcase of Madame Inglethorpe on the morning of her death. At the very moment of trying to retrieve the letter, I was approaching the room with Monsieur John Cavendish or Monsieur Wells, the lawyer.
Evie's going to do more harm than...
Desperately, the murderer looks for somewhere to conceal it. But there is no way in the room of destroying the letter. In a moment, the letter is torn into 3 long strips.
You've got the keys still.
Rolled into the spills and placed amongst the other spills on the mantelpiece. The murderer then unbolts the door to the room of Mademoiselle Cynthia and gets away.
My mother kept some things like this.
And there, mes amis, they remained until they were found by Poirot. Oh, yes. The little gray cells have done well today. Un. Deux. Trois. Tonight is the night. There is a good time coming once the old woman is dead and out of the way. No one can possibly bring home the crime to me. That idea of yours about the bromide was a stroke of genius. We must... And here the writer breaks off. It must warm your heart to know that your lover thought so fondly of you that he could not bear but to bring himself to write to you at this so important moment. Mademoiselle Howard.
Me? It's nothing to do with me.
Oh, but it is everything to do with you, mademoiselle. Did I omit to read the greeting on this letter? Forgive me. My dearest Evelyn.
You fool! You bloody fool!
Be quiet, Evie.
No, it is too late for silence, Monsieur Inglethorpe. The handwriting on this letter shouts your guilt. You are a heartless murderer.
How dare you? How dare you make such an accusation?
Oh, Monsieur Inglethorpe, you do disappoint me.
All right. We love each other.
Take them away, Inspector Chapp.
Do you think we were going to sit and wait for the old bitch to die? We deserve the money anyway.
And I'm not sorry. I'm not the least little bit sorry. Mr. Inglethorpe, madam.
Horrible. How horrible.
But why did he keep the letter?
He never finished writing it, you see, mon ami. Possibly Madame Inglethorpe returned early, interrupted him, and caught in the act, he hastily shuts and locks his desk. The rest we know. Madame Inglethorpe finds the letter, decides to say nothing about it to her husband, but determines to destroy the will she had just made in his favor. Probably the next day she intends to make a will in favor of her son John again, but death intervened.